Okay, so I think we can start now, and the title of my presentation is Citation-Based Systematic Literature Review. And, for those of you who are joining from outside our college, so I'm working in College of Economics and Political Science. So my agenda for this presentation is that first I would like to, do a brainstorming session with all of you, and we can talk about or discuss publishing in a good journal. So I will be asking you a few questions, and then you can answer them through your mobile phones or any other device you have. And after that, I would like to start by giving you or discussing what is a literature review and what kind of literature reviews we have, and what is the difference between a traditional and systematic literature review. And then due to the availability of citation data, now we can do citation based systematic literature review, which are very adding very high value to our systematic literature review. So this is what I'm going to present, citation-based systematic literature review. And then, I will give you some examples of some recent studies just to motivate you. Some of those studies are my own, and some studies I would like to mention you just for motivation. And then finally, I will be showing you, how to conduct a systematic literature review. But remember that this conducting a systematic literature review, if I want to teach you the whole method or the whole process, then it will take a lot of time. But in this presentation, I'm just showing you the process. And then if you are interested, we can do, or we can have separate meetings about that, and I can explain in detail. So now I would like to ask you some questions, and please go to this website on your mobile phone and write sendsteps.me. So use your mobile phone, or if you have a computer, to join in. So you just have to write sendsteps.me, and then it will ask you for a login. And you just have to give this login, Shakespeare 8950, and you don't need any password. You just have to write this. It is also an opportunity for me to introduce you this very interesting tool, which is Shakespeare, or they now call it SendSteps. So it's very interactive. You can use it for your class or students. They can respond by writing or by doing a poll, whatever way you want. There are a lot of different options available in this PowerPoint add-in. So you can add it into your PowerPoint presentation when you are doing with your students. So mashallah, many of you are joining. Already 12 of you have joined. So it's very good, very interactive way of communicating with your, participants, students, or whatever you are doing. But the problem is that maximum limit is 20, because I'm using a free version. So only 20 people can join. Okay, so let me ask you my first question. What is a contribution? Whenever we submit a paper in a journal, we always get this, comment that what is the contribution of your paper? So let us hear from all of us, like we can see what we have views about it. And when you're answering your question, please use dash in between two words. If you are using more than one word, then put a dash instead of space, because if you use space, then it will show it separately. So put a dash between your words, and then you submit your responses. And my question is, what is a contribution? So once you submit, we will start seeing it on the screen. Okay, a lot of responses are coming. So we have to do, of course, testing a theory on a novel case. We have to do in, so there are a lot of how your paper benefits. Of course, this is very important. Adding value to the literature, new knowledge. Research is, research value is the main insight. Many of you saying that. Extending the current theories, new knowledge, study design writing. So these are all, valid points of a contribution. And this is very, very important that this is, I think, the most common comment you receive from the reviewers, that what is your contribution? So we have to be, very good at writing this part, and we should know what kind of contribution we can do. So we have all these points in front of you. If you are trying to write a contribution, then of course you need to have some of these points which are mentioned here. Okay, so very good, and thank you very much for your responses. And let me ask you the next question. And there are some researchers who have already done research on defining a contribution. And I'm going to present you a little bit about that from a paper from Laddick and Stewart, 2008. And of course, this is just one perspective. And they defined this contribution in a research paper on a quantum, where we have 1 representing the least contribution, and number 8 is a very, very high contribution. So what do we mean by, for example, number 1? Number 1 is the straight replication. For example, somebody has done something, on the US by using a particular methodology or new methodology, and you came to know about this methodology and you wanted to do the same thing, or using same methodology, you wanted to do your analysis on Oman, for example. So this is called straight replication. You just replicated. Of course, this is a contribution, but the contribution level is very low here. And then number 2, they define as replication and extension. And what do we mean by that? You're using a theory which has been applied in the US, and you are applying it in Oman, but you are taking into some local condition into your model. So then it becomes some kind of extension. And of course, this is much better than just doing a straight replication. And then number 3, they defined as extension of a new method, theory, or theory in a new era. So this is also better than replication and extension. And then number 4, they defined it as a literature review or integrative literature review, and the example could be meta-analysis values of this quantum. You will see that number 8 is like you are developing a new theory that predicts a new phenomena. And of course, all of us would like to move close to number 8, but we have our own limitations for doing that. So anyhow, this is just one perspective, and there are many studies that has been done to identify or to explain the contribution of a paper. So my next question to you is, what will not publish in a good journal? So can you please write your responses, and remember to put a dash if your response is more than 2 words, more than 1 word. Of course, if your model is not theoretically strong, you cannot publish. And of course, if you are just doing a straight replication, it will be very hard for you to publish. not interesting contribution, no added knowledge, lack of contribution, descriptive study, not original, and duplication of things, article not related to your topic, lack of vasta. Some interesting. Of course, this is one of the problem we face nowadays, that sometimes we need vasta, but of course we shouldn't go for that. We should do original contributions. Okay, but this is what you see. This is what we but will not publish in a good journal if you are doing some of these things. So we have to be well aware of these things. Type 1 and type 2 contributions are difficult to publish. I agree with that. Journals are looking much more than that. Okay, so my next question is, how can you figure out the level of contribution we make? Okay, so please answer if you have anything to say. How can we figure out the level of contribution we can make? Reading, very good, very well done. Of course, we need to do that. We need citations, peer review, tangible outcome, yes, very good. Knowing what you are doing, of course. Making it counterintuitive, very good. This is also very relevant. Okay, clear gaps, benchmarking, very good. Okay, so all these, these points are very important. Again, this is just a brainstorming. We are learning from each other. So some of these points I didn't know. So I think these are all valid points, and we have to be very careful when we are telling about our contribution. We need to know these things. So how can we figure out the level of contribution? Of course, many of you said that it requires a very good understanding of the topic. Okay, and then some of you have also said that what has been done on the topic and what has not been done on the topic. So these are the basic things we need to answer in order to find out what is our level of contribution in a particular research paper. Okay, so my next question, what is the foundation of a good research paper? Method, novelty, clear objectives. Very good. All these points are relevant. When foundation is challenged, good research, some theoretical support, quality literature review. Very good. This is what I wanted to see also. Quality literature review. Identify research gap based on a literature review, of course. So again, these are all very valid points, and whenever we are doing a research, we should build on these points. And these are very relevant points. Robust methodology, impact on societies, and all these things are very relevant. Thank you very much for your responses. So, but we agree that the foundation of a good research paper is also based on thorough understanding of the literature. Okay, and let me now give you a very simple definition of what is a literature review. And of course, we know this already. So somebody wants to join in. So a simple definition of literature review is an account of what has been published on a topic by other scholars and researchers, or by scholars and researchers. So this is very simple definition of a literature review. And then why do we do a literature review? Of course, if you are doing a dissertation, if you are a PhD students or master's students, you have to do a very good literature review for your dissertation. And if there are some weaknesses in your literature review, then of course it will show up in your remainder paper. So this is very important that you do a very solid, literature review in order to support what you are doing. And then sometimes we also do a literature review in a regular empirical paper, like we want to apply some theory and we would like to know what other people have done on this topic. And why we do it? Because later on in our paper we can compare the results of our study with the other studies to show the robustness, or to show that how your results are different, and also you can also tell what is the contribution of your paper compared to the earlier study. This is a very standard practice, and we all do this. And then sometimes we do a research paper itself on a literature review, and they are also very important contribution, and they are also very important for any topic. So these are basically the reasons why we do a literature review. And there are various types of literature reviews. For example, we have a narrative style literature review, or we can call it a traditional literature review. And what is the definition of traditional literature review or narrative style literature review? That it summarizes, critically analyze, evaluate, and clarify ideas that has been presented by other authors. So this is a very simple and one definition of a traditional literature review. Of course, there will be many other definitions as well. And then the second type of literature review is the meta-analysis. And what do we do in meta-analysis? We systematically assess the results of previous research to derive conclusion about that body of research. So this is what we basically do in meta-analysis. And then the third type of literature review is the systematic literature review, or you can also call it citation-based systematic literature review, which I will be talking in more detail now. So what is systematic literature review? Let me first give you a very simple definition. And of course, again, this is one definition. There may be other way of explaining or defining the systematic literature review. So systematic literature survey has well-defined research questions. It has a very well-defined search process of articles, and there is a way of data extraction. And finally, when you have your data ready, you can present your results. So this is, one definition of a systematic literature review. And now, the thing which I'm going to present is the citation-based systematic literature review. And let me explain you what do we mean by citation-based systematic literature review. We know that when we are doing a systematic literature review, we usually use content analysis. So we systematically select articles, and then we create a content analysis which explains us various things. But if you combine citation analysis with the content analysis, then we call it a citation-based systematic literature review. And what is the advantage of doing citation-based systematic literature review? Let me give you an example. So when we are conducting a content analysis, then we can find out what methodology has been widely used in this literature or in a particular literature. And this is very interesting. Of course, we would, if there is a PhD student who want to work on a new topic, he would like to know what is the widely used methodology. And of course, through content analysis, we can do that. But what is the benefit of citation analysis? The benefit of citation analysis is that now we can answer more questions. Of course, we can still answer what methodology has been widely used, but now we can also answer which one is the most influential methodology. And of course, sometimes it is very, very important to know that there are 3 or 4 methodologies which can be used, but which one is the most influential one. And through citation analysis, we can bring that into our, in our research question. So this is very, very important. And of course, due to these citation databases, we can very easily do that. And let me tell you some advantages of doing a systematic literature review. So the first thing is that you don't have to be an expert to start a literature review. And let me explain this. This is especially for PhD students and new researchers who want to start something on a new topic, on a new research. So my recommendation is that they should do a systematic literature review first, in order to identify the gaps, in order to identify the whole area of research. This is very, very important. And also, if you have a research gap, you are starting your research again after a long gap, then it will be a very good idea if you start it with a systematic literature review, because now it can be done very easily. And then, these systematic literature reviews are more objective and they are less prone to bias and error. Why is that? Because let us assume you are doing a traditional literature review. So how we conduct a traditional literature review, we subjectively select some papers. We say that these are the 20 papers which I think are important, and then you start explaining them and you say that what they have contributed. But if somebody else is doing the traditional literature review on the same topic, he will select some other studies, maybe 20, 50 other studies, and their results can be different based on their judgment, which paper are important or not. But if you are doing a systematic literature review, then of course it will be very objective, and anybody can do it with the same. If they use the same methodology, they can come up with the same results. So you are giving, you're not using your personal judgment to select the articles, but you are selecting them very objectively. So there are less biases, and also there are less error in them. And then you have a very clear description of the method you are using. When you are writing a systematic literature review, you have to very clearly write how you selected your methods. So this is also very, very important. And then you are explicitly telling the criteria of choosing the studies. If you are doing a traditional literature review, you are not telling how you selected your articles for your analysis. You just say that in your understanding, these are the important articles. But in systematic literature review, you will be writing them very clearly how you selected the articles. And then, you can include the assessment and discussion of quality of the studies. You can apply some filters. So all these things can be done. And finally, whatever you do, it can be replicatable, or anybody can verify. For example, if I'm doing a systematic literature review on a particular topic, I give my keywords which I used, and anybody else can use the same keywords and the same database, and he can replicate what I'm doing. Okay, so this is reader can replicate, and they can verify my findings. So let me now show you some examples of citation-based systematic literature review. And I will start this by showing you this first paper, which has been published in Omega, which is a very, very high rank journal, and it is published in 2012. And why I'm showing you this paper, just to tell you that these papers, these citation-based literature reviews, they get a lot of citations, because there are many new things or many new dimensions you report, so people are citing your paper a lot. So this paper was published in 2012. They got 549 citations until now. So this is one motivation for you also. And then I would like to mention this paper, very interesting paper. And why I am mentioning this? Because this paper has been written by Dr. Irfan Bhatt, and he is actually my mentor, and he is actually my teacher who taught me this systematic literature review. Back in 2017, I think Dr. Irfan presented a seminar in the college, and I went there to support him. I didn't know about systematic literature review. But then after his presentation, I was very well motivated, and I requested him to show me how to do. And later on, we already published 4 or 5 joint papers with Dr. Irfan. So I would like to thank him at this moment. And then there are a few other interesting things about this paper. It has been done on 506 articles, peer review articles published in top ranked journals. And this paper itself is being published in Q1 journal, and it is ranked A in ABTC listing. But then there is one more interesting thing. Can anyone guess how many pages we have in this paper? Just a guess. I know you don't know about this, but let me ask you. How many pages this paper has? 8. Let me read your comments. So you can write your answer in the comments. 5 pages, 50 pages, 10 pages, 20 pages, 96 pages. Dr. Ikram, maybe I already mentioned it to you, and 35 pages. So this actually, there are 92 pages in this article. And Dr. Irfan told me that when he submitted this paper to the journal, the editor sent it to the reviewers, and reviewers, immediately returned it back to the editor. They said that, no, this is too much, we cannot review, and it should not be published. But then the editor was too much interested, and he said that, no, I will publish it. And it got published with 92 pages. It's very rare. Usually, we publish article with 15, 20 pages. And then I would like to mention another paper of Dr. Irfan, which was published in 2013. And why I'm showing you this paper? Because this is to tell you that they use the same database, the same search, and same content analysis to produce multiple papers. So from the same sample, the previous paper, if you see, it was about the themes of study in this literature. And then this one is only about the methodologies used in this literature. You see that once you develop this database, then you can do multiple papers out of the same data. So that is why it is very, motivating. And of course, it takes time, but now with the availability of new software, we can do it very quickly. And it is also being published with 62 pages. So again, you see, editors and journals are very much interested in these kinds of literature reviews. And let me show you one of my recent work, which of course, this is my first paper on systematic literature review, and it is being published in Energy Economics, which is a A-star journal in ABTC. And why I'm showing you this paper? Because I wanted to tell you a story about this. I started this paper back in 2017 when I first got inspired by Dr. Irfan, and I decided to do the paper on this topic. And it took us almost 2.5 years to get this paper, complete and then being accepted. So it took very long time, and there are several reasons. The first reason is that we were dealing with 1,041 papers, and also that most of the analysis done in this paper is manual, like we used Excel sheets and some basic tools to do the analysis. And imagine that we have to collect the citations of each paper manually from Google Scholar. And it took us time, and then we did the content analysis. Me and Dr. Raza spent so much time doing this paper. But the end result was good, that we were able to publish it. And then I'm going to show you another paper of mine, which is also being accepted in this year. And why I am showing you this paper, again, this is just to motivate you. And there is an interesting story to tell you that I went to Turkey in November 2019, and I presented another paper on systematic literature review. And my session chair was Dr. Angeliki. She's from Greece. and she's expert in this area, and also she has written a lot of books. So she was the session chair where I was presenting, and of course she said that it's very interesting. But later she, when I came back to Oman, she contacted me via Facebook, and I don't know how, but then he said that I like your presentation and I like the idea, so let us do a citation or systematic literature review on a particular topic. And then she suggested, because she's working in the Department of Tourism Economics, so she asked me to do a literature review on this tourism growth nexus, which is very popular topic in tourism economics. So what happened? We started this paper in mid-November, and she is very good writer, and her English is very good, and she has authored many books, and she has already written many literature reviews. So she's very good in writing. And imagine, we finished the first draft of this paper in 25 days after completing all the analysis. And you see how much time I spent on the first paper, and then the second paper was very quick, just because we had a good co-author who can do the research. So this is just to motivate you that now it is very easy to do the analysis part. It's very easy, and you can do the things in very short time period. And then this paper has been rejected from 4 journals before it has been accepted in Journal of Economic Survey, which is Q1 and A rank in APDC. So this is just to motivate you. And I will be presenting the process of conducting a systematic literature review using this paper. I will tell you different methods and different techniques used in this. So now I'm moving on to process of conducting a citation-based systematic literature review, and we start with the topic selection. And of course, this is the most important part in this process. And sometimes I spend more time on topic selection than doing the analysis, just because if you have a right topic, then you will be able to publish it later on. And I will show you in detail what do we mean by topic selection. And the second step is to keyword literature search. We use some databases to find out or to select our articles. And then we export the references and these things into a software. Sometimes we use Excel, and sometimes we use RStudio, which is very easy to use. And then we do the citation analysis, and then we do the content analysis using Excel. We create template and all these things. And then we have the data analysis part, and finally we do the write-up. So let me go through these points one by one so that you get an idea about how to do a systematic literature review. So the first and the most important part of systematic literature review is the topic selection. And first of all, we need to define how broad is your topic and how narrow is your topic. If you are taking a very broad topic, then of course it will be too much. There will be many studies, and it will be very difficult to have a grasp on that. On the other hand, if you have a very narrow topic, then of course you don't have many studies on that. For example, when we started this paper, if we just look at doing a paper on tourism, if I search tourism in Scopus or in Web of Science, you will find thousands of articles. So it is too broad to be a topic. So what we do, we can narrow it down, but it should not be too much narrowed. For example, if we say tourism growth nexus in Oman, so maybe you will find maybe hardly 2 or 3 studies on that. So you have to be, spend some time to select a topic which is not very broad, and at the same time, it is not very narrowed. So we selected this tourism growth nexus, and we did not restrict it to Oman, but we did it for, all the countries in the world. And then, the next thing about the topic selection is that, is it a mature topic or if it is an emerging topic? So you have to be thinking about that. Of course, you can do the literature review on both, for example, mature topic or emerging topic. For example, if you are looking for a mature topic, so tourism growth nexus is a mature topic, like many people have done it, many people have tested it, whether tourism is causing growth or if it is the growth which is causing the tourism. And then the emerging topic could be tourism after COVID-19. You know, this is an emerging topic. A lot of people are now started writing about it. So this is an emerging topic. So you have to decide whether you are going for a mature topic or if you are going for an emerging topic, depending upon your own judgment. And then, of course, you have some expertise in the topic. They are very important because when you go to the writing stage, you need to have some good understanding of the topic, which will help you to do a better presentation and analysis. And then if you are also planning to work on this topic in the future, then of course, this is very important that, that you have further plan in the topic. Why? Because if you are just doing a literature review and then you are not going to use it for the future work, then it's a lot of effort involved in it. So it's better to do select a topic in which you have plans to work in the future. And especially this is very important if you are a PhD student or if you are starting a research on a new topic. Let me give you an example that I started working on this energy growth nexus paper, and Dr. Raza was the expert in that topic. But when I did along with it, I got a lot of new insights. We already have done some empirical paper based on our systematic literature review. So it's very important that you have some future interest in the topic. And then you also have to find out if the good quality journals are interested in your topic or not, because we always try to publish in good journals. And if your topic is interesting and the journals are interested in that topic, then of course it will be a good one. Okay, so let me now go into next thing, how to select or how to search articles. And we can search articles in title, abstract, or in the keywords. But before that, before searching into these different areas, we have to identify which databases should we use. So my first paper, which I did on energy growth nexus, I used this Business Source Complete, I used ProQuest, I used Science Direct. But one of the problem with these sources is that they don't have citation information. So once you select your sample from these Business Source or Science Direct, then you have to bring citations from Google or from any other source. But we have this Scopus and Web of Science, which the information, and it includes the information, citation information, so you don't need to do that. And so the process which you do by using these other search engines is reduced a lot. For instance, in energy growth paper, I spend maybe 1 or 2 months to get the citation information for each paper, but here we can directly get it in a few minutes. But one of the problem with Scopus and Web of Science compared to the Business Source and these other sources is that the Scopus and Web of Science do not allow you to search the full text. Okay, they do not allow you to search the body text. They only allow you to search in the title, abstract, and keywords, and the name of the journals and few other information. They do not let you search the body text. But anyhow, most of the keywords or most of the words we are searching, they are available in the title and abstract. So they are perfectly fine. And what is the difference between Scopus and Web of Science? So we all know that Web of Science has a very narrowed coverage of the journal. They have 13,000 journal approximately. And Scopus has a broader coverage of the journal. They include 22,000 journals. And people say that Web of Science is like a gold standard because they have tougher criteria for the papers, for the journals to be included in there, to be indexed in there. And Scopus have relatively easy things. So we can use any one of them. As far as our university is concerned, we don't have access to Web of Science index. So we have Scopus, so you can use Scopus. And I'm using Scopus and there is no problem. There is no objection from the editors or the reviewers if you are using Scopus. And the next one is to find the relevant keywords to select the articles. And for that, we need the expert views. What are the keywords people use in this, search, which will help us to identify the articles. And also, if you have some previous systematic literature review, then you will find that people are searching these words to select their articles. So you can build on that. You can add and subtract some words which are more relevant. And then, for example, for this tourism growth nexus, I use this search key. So you see, I was searching the papers in title, abstract, and keys, and I was searching tourism growth nexus. So if you put an inverted comma, then it searches the whole combination of these words, and then I searched all kinds of different things. And let me show you the next step where we apply some filtering. So this is the Scopus website. If you go to our SKU library website, and there you will find a link for Scopus. So once you go to the Scopus, you can apply the same search which I showed you in the previous slide here. And you can see that there are 1,447 documents by using these keywords. And of course, if you use different words, it will give you different outcome or different set of papers. And this is the filtering process which I'm showing you now. So I started by first searching for tourism growth nexus. I just put them together, and I only found 14 papers. And then I added tourism-led growth. Why? Because some people don't use tourism growth nexus, but they test or they use tourism-led growth. And when I did that, I got 143 papers. And then I added something more, because still some people will not use tourism-led growth, or they will not use tourism growth nexus, but they are working in this area. So what I did, I included tourism, and then I added one of these, growth, gross domestic product, or GDP, and then I added this word nexus or relation. So they can be anywhere. They don't need to be at the one place. So if I did that, you see the number increased to 1,706 article, and that is a lot. So then next step is to do some filtering. In order to keep the quality, I remove books, I remove conference papers, conference proceeding, and then it left with me 1,341 papers, and then I removed non-English language paper and the paper published in 2020. Why did I do that? Because 2020 was not still finished. So I wanted to keep year balance. So I removed 2020. And then, after this, the next step is very important. So we have to remove irrelevant articles by manually checking the title and abstract. And of course, it takes some time. So I have to went through the title and abstracts of 1,234 articles. And I ended up with the finally very well relevant articles, and the number was 231. And then, I also did one more thing in order to make sure that I'm not missing any important article from my sample. What I did, I checked the references of some important literatures, some literature review papers, or some important empirical papers. So I went into their reference list, and I see if I am missing any important paper from those reference list. If I'm missing, I added them into my sample, and it left me with 284 papers. Okay, so this is how we do the filtering process in order to get a very relevant set of articles. So the next step is to export the data into some softwares which we can use. So in Scopus, you are allowed to use different formats to be exported, and you can export all kinds of informations. For example, you can get the citation information, you can get citation count, abstract, keywords, title, and of course, all the funding information, affiliation. So there is a lot of information. So some Sayyid Rajab, is asking me what software we can use to accumulate all these citations. I will tell you just a moment. So this is how we export, and we usually export in BibTeX. And why we export into BibTeX? Because the software which I use to conduct this citation analysis is called Bibliometrics. And you can go to this website, bibliometrics.org, and it will give you, and they made your life easy. This is free of cost, and it is based on R language, and R language, it is freely available. And then you can just download the software. There is a documentation available, and also there is a list of publication available using this, these tools. And of course, it will help you to when you are writing your own results. So this is very easy thing now. So once you bring this into your R language or R Studio, and of course I don't have a lot of time to show you how exactly it has been done. So if you are interested, I can tell you later on. But this is a basic summary of what I have brought into R language. So you see that it is saying me how many articles I have, how many journals, how many authors, the time period, citations per document, and all these informations are very useful to get an overview of the your sample and on this topic. And then you can create some very useful graphs if you want to see what each country is doing in terms of this research. So you can see this is showing you a map of countries with number of publication from each country, and this is based on author's affiliation. And you don't have to do it anything like this. So there is a menu available. You just have to click and you will get this figure. And of course, it is very interesting. You can do it for the particular region if you want. So this is from our paper and showing the contribution of European countries on this tourism growth. Next is, again, it is based on the author affiliation. And then you can also see the annual productivity or number of publication over the years. So you can see that until 2014 there were not many papers on this topic, but after 2014 you see a very sharp growth in number of publication on this topic. And then you can also create this diagram, which is the best papers in different time frame. If you are a PhD student, you would like to know what are the best paper has been published in different time frames. So you see these papers are very important contributions over the years along with their citation information. So these are the citations per year for these papers. So it shows you or it identifies some important contribution, and of course you would like to read them to identify some gaps. And then you can also identify what are the core journals in the field. So, and this is according to the Bradford law. So you can identify the core journals. So you see here, there are 5 core journals on this topic, and these 5 journals are publishing 1/3 of the total publication. So remember, total publication in our sample is 284. So approximately 1/3 of that has been published in these top 5 journals. So you can then see that these are the journals which are very, and then you can target these journals actually. You can send these your literature review paper to these journals, and I actually did that. I wasn't able to publish in these journals, but I know that these are the main journals. And now if you see the citations of each zone, so you see that there are only 5 journals in the core list, and they are publishing 1/3 paper, but look at their citation share. So they are getting 60% of the citation on this topic. So this is very interesting that they are not only producing a lot, but they are also getting a lot of citation on this topic. Okay, so this is also very useful if you are exploring a field. And then you can do all sorts of ranking of journals. For example, if you rank journals based on total publication, then this is the best journal which has published 41 papers. This is based on the citation, this journal. So you see here, tourism economics is publishing a lot of papers, but they are not getting the highest citation. Tourism management is getting more citations on this topic. And then you can also do the ranking based on H-index or based on many other criteria. So this is just to show you that you can do a lot of things using citation analysis. And then you can also find out which journal is publishing more now on this topic. For example, here you see Tourism Economics is publishing a lot of papers on this topic, whereas Tourism Management is also publishing. So a lot of journals are interested to publish on this topic. So it also indicates you where to submit your paper. And then you can also identify the most influential authors. Again, you can do ranking based on H index, based on G index, M index. You can do ranking based on total citation, number of publication, and when did they start writing on this topic. So this is, again, very important. If you are following these, you can follow these researchers on this topic. And then, this citation analysis is actually very rich, and you can do all these in this R Studio or R language. And it is menu driven. You don't have to be expert or to do this. So for example, you can do the authors network, you can do keyword analysis, you can do co-citation analysis. So I'm just showing you some diagrams just to motivate you. So this is co-citation analysis. What do we mean by co-citation analysis or co-citation? Co-citation means that when these paper A and B are cited by this C, D, and E, this is called co-citation. So these paper A and B are appearing together, and then it identifies the clusters and themes of these papers. So you can, it's very giving you a lot of insights. And you can also do co-word analysis, which keywords are appearing or which words are appearing frequently together in a particular study. So you can also find out those networks of words which are commonly used. And then we move on to do the content analysis. I told you that content analysis is also giving you a lot of insights, and especially for new researchers, or if you are working on a new topic, this is very helpful to do a content analysis. So in order to do content analysis, we actually, this content definition is that it is an approach that allows open-ended data to be categorized, explored, and evaluated from a variety of sources. So this is, of course, one definition of the content analysis. So we actually, extract data from our top 100 articles. So how do you select top 100 articles? Based on citation. What papers are getting more citation? We say that they are more influential papers, and we select 100 of them, and then we did the data extraction. So it has clear defined categories. We enter the data in Excel, and this is how your Excel sheet look like when we are extracting the information. So you see that we can, for each paper, we are getting, what kind of variables they use, what kind of data they use, what was the country of, so there's a whole sheet of information on this. And this is, of course, taking a bit of time, but if you have some research assistant who knows how to do it, or if you explain them, they can also do this for you. For example, and then we analyze this data. So this is based on our content analysis of top 100 papers. So you see that it is based on, that it shows us that 96% of the papers are empirical studies, and then we found 3 literature reviews and 1 meta-analysis in our top 100 papers. And then these empirical papers are further divided into time series analysis and panel analysis. Sometimes people just do a time series analysis of one country, but sometimes they use not only the time series, but also across different countries, which we call a panel data. And then we can also find out what are the characteristics of the data used by these top 100 papers. And of course, this information is very important for the new researchers or the PhD students, or if you are starting a topic, what country of a region of analysis has been used, and then also what are the main country of analysis. So I'm just quickly going through, because I'm short of time, just to show you that this content analysis is very, very important. And then, for example, if I want to know what variables are used for measuring tourism and income, then we can see that tourism receipts or expenditure or earnings is the main variable used in the studies, and then also tourist arrivals has been used in some studies, and there are also some other. So this is, and then you also see the variable used to measure or to capture the income. And then we can also see what methodologies has been used. So you see that the methodology is based on if you are doing a panel study or if you are using a time series study. So this is based on our content analysis. And finally, you can also categorize your results. People are testing this hypothesis whether the tourism is causing the growth, or if the growth is causing tourism, and then they also see if both are causing each other. So these are the results studies come up with. And then based on our results, we categorize them, and we say that 34% of the studies, empirical studies in the top 100 papers, they found that tourism is causing income or growth. And then 31% of the studies says that there is no relationship. So this is how we get. And then we can see the result based on countries, which country has what kind of evidence regarding this hypothesis or regarding this paper. So you see, this is very rich analysis or content analysis. Okay, so that is the end of my presentation. I managed to finish it at 1 o'clock, but I would like to hear from you. Are you motivated to do a citation-based systematic literature review? So you can answer now, just to get a feedback. You can use the same link if you want to answer it in the screen.
Dr. Nisar.
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you. So, by the way, this is Farhad from Department of Marketing. Honestly speaking, all right. I really impressed with your presentation. It was very lovely and very interesting. Actually, I'm the one who is going to, from now on to stay in touch with you in order to apply this method in my future research. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, now you were talking about content analysis, and at the beginning of your presentation, you were talking about systematic literature review. Thus, I want to know that the content analysis and systematic literature review, there are two approaches in conducting research, or they are integrated. The integrated research area.
I think if I want to answer this, I would say that systematic literature review is actually based on content analysis, usually, Again, some people defined systematic literature review in a different way, and some define in another way. So it's always been a debate. But I think my understanding is that usually people do systematic literature review based on the content analysis.
All right. My second question, is since you're expert, for conducting systematic, literature review, what software do you introduce or do you recommend for us to use for this kind of analysis?
So I mentioned
your experience.
Yes, I mentioned you this bibliometrics.org website. If you go to that website, they will tell you, they will explain you everything. They have documentation, how to download, how to install, but basically it is based on our language. But it is not like you shouldn't be scared of our languages. It is just using two commands, two lines, and then you will be using internet web interface. Like it will open up Internet Explorer, and then you will be using menu-driven commands, and it's very easy to do.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, more questions? Okay, so some of you are already sure that you will be doing this. This is very good, very promising for me. And of course, if you need more information, you are welcome to contact with me. Dr. Sakir?
Sure. Yeah, Dr. Nisar, thank you very much for a beautiful talk. I really like it. The way you're explaining all that stuff is very promising for our the masters and PhD students. Specifically, they are doing the literature part. If we do systematically, and content analysis has to be there with more tangible outcome from the literature. So that's why I requested, and then I'm requesting Dr. Salem to include our postgraduate students, specifically the PhD and the masters who are in the thesis component. They have to attend such seminars in the future.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah, we have already informed them and sent them an invitation to attend.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Salah. Yeah, no, the other thing is about using the R software or the software, the tools used for the bibliometric analysis is there. From behalf of Information Systems Department, we're happy to conduct a workshop if the college agrees in the future. We just only because it's a hands-on and we cannot do it everything virtually. We're waiting for this pandemic to be over, and then we're happy to provide the hands-on workshop to the whole college. We're already doing it, and some of our faculties are integrating a lot of programming languages and everything.
Yeah, inshallah. Thank you. I think it's very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Adil is asking, BiblioShiny is for non-coders. Yes, this is, the main website is called Bibliometrics, but they also developed a non-coder version, which is BiblioShiny. So basically, we will be using BiblioShiny, and you just have to run 2 commands into your R language, and then you will be open up with a new window, which is Internet Explorer, and everything will be in the menus. So it's very easy. Okay, so any questions?
Okay, well, if there are no other questions, then I just would like to thank Dr. Nisar for this very insightful, informative, and also interactive presentation. I personally learned a lot from this, and I can see from the number of people who have attended this webinar that this is a very interesting, very important topic for all researchers. So thank you very much, Dr. Nisar, for taking away some of your time to prepare and present this presentation. And hopefully we'll have more seminars in future related to research methodology or research in general. So thank you very much, Dr. Nisar. We really appreciate the time and effort you have put to give this seminar. It's much appreciated.
Thank you for this. Yes, and welcome. And I'm happy to contribute more if some of you need more help from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you also for all those people who have made it to the seminar and for their participation, for their questions, and wish you all the best and a nice weekend.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much.